Before this video starts, I would like to point out that I have been playing Roblox since 2013. I can say that I have attained the veteran status after Roblox has changed so much since then. I wanted to make a video about this 3 years after this channel gained some traction because I always had this desire to discuss the current soulless state of Roblox. Short disclaimer, this is all personal experiences, thoughts, and opinions. I may be wrong about some things I might say in this video, and perhaps you may have a different perspective.
Alone at the edge of a universe humming a tune, for merely dreaming we were snow. A siren sounds like the goddess who promises endless apologies of paradise. And only she can make it right. So things are different too.
You know, we have 2 million creators. They're making all of this immersive 3D content. Millions and millions of people are experiencing it. It runs on all devices. On a PC, it's your big laptop. On a phone, you're using pinch and zoom to use it.
We'll go together in flight.
Roblox! It's free!
Okay, so let's begin. 2013 Roblox was quite a humble time. If I can remember, the games that I played a lot back then were Boys vs. Girls Island Wars, Galleons, and Undead Nation. I even played this one game called Zombies Are Attacking McDonald's back then, but nothing can really top natural disaster survival. That game was at its peak in the early 2010s. Obviously, it's so repetitive, but if you had the mind of a goofy-looking 11-year-old boy with a family computer all to himself, it was like playing a game of the year. The first 3 years of me playing Roblox was an endless bundle of joy. I even got really into Roblox groups, and I co-owned a group in the past. Shout out to Noob Club though. This was also the time where I started my YouTube channel, and I mainly did Roblox videos. Some videos aged like wine, and some aged like milk. But I digress. Looking back, all I remember are the good times. I've heard from other Roblox players from 2006 up to 2008 that the game used to be really simple. Games like Sword Fight on the Heights, Ultimate Paintball, and Work at a Pizza Place were all the rage back then. Since there were only a few thousand players in the platform, it was a common sight to see Roblox admins like Shadletsky, Stickmaster Luke, and other notable players. Years later, most if not all of them left the platform, and only the players who played during that era are the ones that remember them. Right now, with the platform reaching billions of players, the whole front page is just a bunch of clutter. Finding good games on Roblox takes more effort than it was in the past because the most popular games today weren't as good as the popular games before. The fact that this is a recurring issue for each era of Roblox is actually quite funny to me. There is always a recurring debate when it comes to which time period was better for the platform. People keep talking about 2013 Roblox was better, or no, 2008 Roblox was better, and so on. But right now, with the different mistakes that the platform has made, I think it is safe to say that not a lot of people agree with what Roblox has done for its players. Content-wise, it hasn't really changed much. The front page is littered with tycoons, obbies, simulators, with a few good games that you just have to look into. It has been the same thing for ages, it's just that the games are different as time passes. The state of Roblox as of late is a child's dream turned corporate nightmare. To give you a better image, try to imagine the old Roblox as your best friend in middle school. Fun, full of jokes, and always finds the time to hang out with you. The new Roblox is a 30-year-old man with a $1,000 3-piece suit and a much more expensive briefcase. It used to be about fun, but now it's all about numbers. Revenue, expansion, and important updates are all that matter to Roblox. It's no longer a gaming platform per se, but a gaming corporation. The notable events that have occurred in these past few years were all sponsored events or virtual concerts. Egg Hunt is pretty much a thing of the past, and events are pretty much just advertisements nowadays. I would argue that it is somewhat comparable to what EA became by heavily prioritizing profit by taking advantage of the whole pay-to-win scheme. Similar to Roblox taking away dicks, which used to be the currency that most players can acquire by just logging into Roblox. Ever since then, Roblox has just been making some bad calls. The audio privacy update that negatively affected both players and developers, which rendered the Roblox audio library useless. Mature games where players who are 17 years old and above are allowed now, but I honestly think that some players may be able to bypass that. Unless Roblox moderation and security will increase, this will certainly be another disappointing update. For me, Roblox has been getting out of touch with its player base. Their focus has shifted and have prioritized the approval of their investors rather than the players and the developers. The ones that are providing content and overall value to the platform. It doesn't feel the same, and I'd like to think that this is more than just a nostalgia thing going on. We all knew that the jig was up when Roblox decided to push Arthro and other updates that seemed to make them the forefront of the metaverse. In my opinion, it's quite a scumbag move. I wish that Roblox established dialogue and lent both ears to the players and devs who have been able to create such exponential value to the overall experience. Side note, I still heavily disagree about the fact that Roblox decided to change how they called games experiences. It was so unnecessary, and I still don't know why they made the change. Speaking of change, the search filters back then were absolutely way better than they are now. Sure, autofill was a pretty decent update, but back then you could browse games by genre, and they just removed that. On top of that, browsing was just a better experience because you can find a great game based on your preferences, and finding good games right now takes way too much time and effort. This leads me to another issue, which is the discoverability of games on Roblox. To reiterate my previous point, the front page is absolutely abysmal. A friend of mine told me about this forum post on the Roblox dev forum about how the platform's algorithm is negatively affecting the game's user base. Bad Business, which is arguably one of the best shooters on Roblox, has taken sharp declines on their average players. To add to that, Roblox has backed the game and the dev team making it. So, how can they screw up that bad that they can't even support the games under their accelerator program? For context, the Accelerator program is basically Roblox's Kickstarter. Bad Business was a part of that program, and seeing them getting high-key shadow banned by Roblox is kind of a dick move. Similar games have also had this issue, and so far, Roblox is not doing anything, let alone making a statement about it. Remembering how good DevX used to be, it is such a huge letdown to see developers get treated like this. As a community, players and developers alike have no choice but to stay resilient. With the scarcity of opportunities that Roblox offers, we all collectively shrug our shoulders and just say, it is what it is. With the number of L's that Roblox has taken, people are just used to it now. One bad update after another, and it just sounds like the average weekday for everyone. In a grander sense of things, people just stopped complaining and kept it within their own circles. Like the average high school drama, when you don't change for people, they talk about you behind your back. But in the case of Roblox, we are talking about their mistakes in plain sight. All they need to do is listen and acknowledge the frustrations the developers are currently facing within their platform. To be honest, I can't even blame the corporation entirely. Sometimes Roblox has to compensate because they're no longer running a simple platform. They're running an entire operation with an immense amount of complexity. I see why they had to build so much compromise, and even to the point where they have to cut corners. Don't get me wrong, I do miss the old Roblox, but to be frank, I could really care less about what place Roblox is going to end up in. I used to play this game when I was 11, and now I'm becoming a college student. I have a lot of problems that need my attention, and this isn't one of them. With all the things I have said in this video, I can confidently say that the old Roblox is forever gone. As much as we want to look back, it'll never come back. Everything looks and feels different now, but that's change. As much as we dislike it, change is inevitable. Unfortunately, Roblox has been changing for the worse. Obviously, we don't accept it, and we still want them to change for the better. I want to remain optimistic and expect that there will be good updates in the near future, but not a lot of people have that kind of patience. As for us, the seasoned Roblox players, we are no longer the target demographic. To put it simply, as long as there's enough servers for Meep City, Adopt Me, and Brookhaven Roleplay, Roblox will continue to generate more profit from younger age groups. Three options remain for us. We either continue to play Roblox knowing that it probably won't be as good as before, leave the game entirely, or remain bitter and sad, intoxicated by Roblox nostalgia. The amount of passion that the users have put into producing content on a platform they've loved has been reciprocated with nothing but a blank stare from the people in charge. A sign of a missing soul as Roblox proceeds to stray away from its users and closing into corporate entities to talk about maximizing profits. For some, this platform has made their entire lives, but to Roblox, it's just another day, another dollar. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.